Hello, my friends, and welcome to Learn English with Sara, a cozy place where stories help you grow your English naturally. Today, I want to share something special with you, not just a lesson, but a story about learning patience and believing in yourself. Because learning English isn't only about words or grammar, it's about courage, curiosity, and enjoying the journey along the way. So make yourself comfortable and let's begin. When I first started learning English, I felt completely lost. I remember sitting in my room looking at a page full of strange words I couldn't understand. It was scary. I thought maybe I was too late to learn or maybe I wasn't smart enough. But then something simple changed everything. I started listening to English stories. Every evening I would play a short story before going to bed. At first I understood almost nothing, but I kept listening. Slowly, little by little, the sounds began to make sense. Words became familiar, sentences started to flow, and one day I realized I could understand the story without translating it in my head. That was the moment I fell in love with English. Listening became my secret key. It taught me how words sound, how they dance together in a sentence, and how real people speak. So my first advice to you is this: listen every single day. Listen to English songs, stories, podcasts, or even the news. Don't worry if you don't understand everything at first. Just listen, because listening is how your brain starts to build the rhythm and music of the language. Then came the second step, speaking. This was even scarier. I remember standing in front of the mirror trying to say simple sentences like, "My name is Sara," or "I like reading books." It felt awkward. I made so many mistakes and sometimes I laughed at myself. But I didn't stop. I spoke a little every day to myself, to my friends, even to my cat. The truth is, mistakes are not your enemy. They're your best teacher. Each mistake shows you where to grow. So never be afraid to speak, even if your voice shakes. Every word you say brings you one step closer to fluency. I also discovered the joy of reading. I started with very simple books, stories with pictures, or small paragraphs from children's books. One story I remember was about a little lost cat. It was such a simple tale, but it made me smile and it taught me many new words. The more I read, the more confident I felt. Reading opened new worlds and helped me understand how words connect together. If you want to improve your English fast, find books that make you happy, even short ones. Read them aloud. Imagine the scenes and feel the story. Another thing that helped me was writing. I bought a small notebook and wrote in it every night. Sometimes I wrote about my day, what I ate, who I talked to, or something funny that happened. Other times I wrote about my dreams and goals. My writing wasn't perfect and I made a lot of mistakes, but it didn't matter. What mattered was that I was using English, not just studying it. Over time, I saw my progress in those little pages. Writing gave me confidence and helped me think in English more naturally. Watching English videos also became part of my daily routine. I loved cartoons and short shows because they used everyday language. I remember watching one about a funny dog who always got into trouble. It made me laugh so much, and at the same time, I learned dozens of new words. Movies and shows help you understand how real people speak, their tone, their expressions, and their rhythm. So whenever you can watch English videos, even short clips can teach you a lot. And of course, I practiced talking with others. I was lucky to have a friend who spoke English very well. We talked almost every day. Sometimes I made mistakes, but she was patient and corrected me kindly. Those small conversations became my classroom. They helped me learn how to use words in real life, not just in books. If you don't have someone to talk to, don't worry. Today you can find people online who also want to practice English. Join groups, chat, and share stories. The more you talk, the more confident you become. Before I go further, I want to remind you of something very important. Be patient with yourself. Learning a language takes time. You can't rush it, and you don't need to. Every small step counts. When you feel tired or frustrated, take a deep breath and remember how far you've already come. Even learning one new word today is progress. Believe me, I've been there. I once felt like giving up, but I didn't. I kept going. And you can too. Because the truth is, English isn't something you just study. It's something you live, breathe, and grow into one beautiful word at a time. When I was still a beginner, I often heard the phrase, "practice makes perfect." I used to smile at it, but honestly, I didn't understand how true it was until I lived it myself. Practicing every day doesn't mean you have to study for hours. Sometimes it's just 10 minutes of reading or repeating a few sentences aloud while cooking or walking. It's the little things you do every day that create big changes over time. Consistency is much more powerful than intensity. If you make English part of your daily routine like brushing your teeth, you'll be surprised how quickly it becomes natural. One of the most helpful tools I used was my dictionary. It was small enough to fit in my bag and I carried it everywhere. Whenever I heard or saw a new word, I looked it up, learned its meaning, and practiced using it. Today, we are lucky to have online dictionaries and apps that can even pronounce the word for us. So use them. Every new word you learn is like adding a new color to your language palette. The more colors you have, the more beautiful your communication becomes. Another thing that really helped me was playing word games. Yes, games? Learning doesn't always have to feel serious. I played simple word puzzles and English quizzes with friends. We would laugh, make mistakes, and learn together. Those moments reminded me that English could be fun, not just a subject in school, but something to enjoy. So, if you ever feel bored, try learning through games, songs, or even drawing. When you have fun, your brain remembers faster and better. Let me share a secret that changed everything for me. I started thinking in English. At first, it was very hard. I had to translate everything in my head. What do I want to eat became, I want to eat rice. But after some time, I noticed something amazing. I didn't have to translate anymore. The thoughts just came naturally in English. It was like unlocking a new part of my brain. So try to think in English. When you see something, describe it in English in your mind. When you're alone, talk to yourself in English. It may sound funny, but it works beautifully. Another tip that helped me grow was setting small goals. Big dreams are wonderful, like I want to speak fluent English, but sometimes they feel too far away. So I started setting tiny, realistic goals, like learning 5 new words a day or watching 1 English video before bed. Reaching those small goals made me proud, and that feeling pushed me to keep going. Each goal was a small victory, and all those little victories added up to something big. As I continued, I also learned the importance of reviewing what I had studied. I used to read my notes every weekend. At first, it felt repetitive, but soon I realized that repetition was the secret ingredient to memory. The more I reviewed, the better I remembered. Sometimes I even listened to the same story twice or 3 times. Each time I understood a little more. So don't be afraid to repeat things. Repetition isn't boring, it's powerful. But there's another thing I want you to remember. Stay positive. Learning a new language can be tough, and there will be days when you feel like you're not improving at all. That's normal. Every learner feels that way. I had days when I wanted to give up, but every time I felt down, I reminded myself why I started, because I wanted to connect with the world, to understand stories, to make friends, to travel, to feel free. That reminder gave me strength to keep going. So whenever you feel discouraged, take a break, smile, and tell yourself, I can do this. Because you can. Every mistake you make, every hard word you struggle with, every sentence you try to say, all of it is proof that you're growing. Progress doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. You might not see it every day, but it's there. And as I look back now, I realize something beautiful. Learning English wasn't just about studying a language, it was about learning myself. It taught me patience, confidence, and persistence. It showed me that no dream is too far if you take one small step every day. So keep walking, one word, one sentence, one story at a time. The journey is long, but it's worth every step. When I was still learning, I realized something very important. English was all around me, I just had to notice it. So I began to surround myself with English. I changed the language on my phone and laptop to English. At first it was confusing, I didn't understand every word. But soon I started learning naturally just by using it every day. I also listened to English music, read the lyrics, and sang along. The words became easier, the sounds became familiar, and suddenly English didn't feel like a foreign language anymore. It started to feel like a part of me. So, if you can make English part of your daily world, watch English videos, listen to English podcasts, read English signs, or even label objects in your room with English names. Surround yourself with the language until it becomes your friend. Another thing that helped me so much was repetition. It might sound boring, but it's one of the most powerful tools for learning. When you repeat something, a word, a phrase, or even a story, your brain stores it deeply. I used to repeat words out loud every morning sometimes while brushing my teeth or making breakfast. It became a habit, like a morning exercise for my mind. Over time, I noticed how easily those words came to me when I spoke. Repetition doesn't just help you remember, it helps you own the language. But I also knew I had to make learning fun, or I would get tired. So I started to enjoy the process. I sang English songs while cooking, made up silly stories using new words, and even talked to myself about what I was doing. Now I'm washing the dishes. Now I'm going for a walk. It might sound funny, but it worked. I started to think and speak in English without realizing it. So find joy in what you're learning. Play with it. Laugh at your mistakes. Learning doesn't have to feel like homework. It can be something that makes you happy every single day. Another powerful technique I used was using new words immediately. Whenever I learned a new word, I tried to use it that same day. For example, when I learned the word beautiful, I used it for everything. The weather is beautiful. My coffee is beautiful. Even my cat is beautiful. It made me smile, but it also made me remember the word forever. So don't just write words in your notebook. Use them, speak them, write them, Live them. It's also important not to rush. Learning English is not a race. It's okay to go slowly. Sometimes I only learned one word a day, but that was still progress. When I felt tired, I allowed myself to rest. Taking breaks helped me stay fresh and motivated. Remember, your brain needs rest to grow. So when you need to pause, do it without guilt. Learning is not about how fast you move. It's about how well you continue. Another habit that changed my life was keeping a journal in English. Every night before bed, I wrote a few sentences about my day, what I did, how I felt, or something I learned. In the beginning, my sentences were short and full of mistakes, but I didn't care. After a few months, I looked back and saw how much I had improved. My writing became smoother, my sentences longer, and my confidence stronger. Keeping a journal is one of the best ways to see your growth. It's your personal story of success written one page at a time. And don't forget to ask questions. When I didn't understand something, I asked my teacher, my friends, or even searched online. Asking questions means you care about learning. It shows curiosity, and curiosity is one of your greatest powers. There are no silly questions when it comes to learning. Every question you ask brings you one step closer to understanding. There were also days when I felt too tired or frustrated. Maybe I couldn't remember a word, or I made the same mistake again and again. On those days, I learned something very valuable: to be kind to myself. Instead of saying I'm bad at this, I said I'm still learning. That small change in words made a big difference in my attitude. You see, kindness is not just for others, it's for yourself too. Learning a new language takes courage, and you're already doing something amazing by trying. So, if you ever feel like you're not moving fast enough, remind yourself every small step counts. Every new word is progress. Every mistake is a lesson. Every day you keep going is a victory. English isn't just a subject, it's a door to new opportunities, new friendships, and new dreams. And that door is already opening for you. When I was learning English, there were days when I felt excited, full of energy, and ready to study for hours. But there were also days when I felt tired, bored, or even frustrated. On those days, I discovered a simple secret: celebrate every small success. Did you learn a new word today? Celebrate it. Did you finish reading a page in English? Celebrate it. Did you understand one line from a song or a video? That's progress. I used to reward myself with little things, sometimes a cup of my favorite coffee, sometimes a short walk, or watching a fun movie. These small celebrations kept me excited and reminded me that I was moving forward. Learning a language is not just about the destination, it's about enjoying every step of the journey. Another tip that really helped me was learning with others. Studying alone is good, but studying with friends makes everything better. I had a friend who was also learning English, and we practiced together every week. We laughed at our mistakes, corrected each other, and shared new words. Learning became fun and social. If you can find a study partner or join an English-speaking group online, you'll be amazed at how much faster you improve when you share the experience with others. And don't worry if your friends are better or worse than you. Everyone learns at their own pace. The important thing is to keep helping and encouraging one another. Something that changed my pronunciation and confidence was listening to myself. I used to record my voice while reading short stories in English. At first it was strange. I didn't like how my voice sounded. But when I listened carefully, I noticed where I could improve. I heard the words I pronounced incorrectly and practiced them again. Slowly, my pronunciation became clearer and more natural. If you've never tried this before, I recommend it. Just record yourself reading or speaking, then listen back. It's one of the most powerful ways to improve your English speaking skills. One thing I learned along the way is that you should never compare yourself to others. Everyone's learning journey is unique. Some people learn faster, some slower. Some are great at speaking, others are better at writing. And that's perfectly okay. When I compared myself to others, I often felt discouraged. But when I focused on my own progress, my own small victories, I started to feel proud of how far I'd come. So focus on your journey. You're not in competition with anyone. You're growing step by step in your own beautiful way. Being creative also made learning more fun for me. I drew pictures to remember new words, made flashcards with colorful designs, and even wrote little poems in English. Creativity helps your brain remember better. For example, when I learned the word sunny, I drew a picture of a smiling sun next to it. That image stayed in my memory, and I never forgot the word again. So don't be afraid to use your imagination. Draw, sing right, or make stories, anything that helps you connect with the words emotionally. Organization also matters. When I was learning, I kept all my notes in one folder. I made lists of new words and checked them off as I learned them. I set a small schedule, 15 minutes of reading in the morning, 10 minutes of writing at night. Being organized made learning easier and less stressful. You don't need to study for hours, you just need a plan and consistency. Even a few minutes a day can lead to amazing results over time. Most importantly, be consistent. Learning a little every day is better than studying a lot once a week. I made English part of my daily life, reading a sign, writing a sentence, listening to a podcast while cleaning. Every small effort added up. I didn't realize it at first, but consistency was my secret power. It kept me moving forward even when I didn't feel motivated. And please be kind to yourself. Some days will be hard, and that's normal. You might forget a word, make a grammar mistake, or feel shy when speaking. But that doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're learning. Every mistake is a lesson. Every challenge is a teacher. When you treat yourself with kindness, you create space for confidence to grow. Remember, you're not just learning English, you're building a new version of yourself, stronger, braver, and more open to the world. And finally, never lose your curiosity. Ask questions. Explore new topics. Try new ways to learn, maybe a podcast, a movie, a book, or even a funny meme. Curiosity keeps your learning alive and exciting. When you're curious, you're not just memorizing, you're discovering. And discovery is what makes learning truly magical. So, as you continue your journey, keep your heart open and your mind curious. Celebrate your progress. Be patient with yourself, and remember, every word you learn is one more key that opens the world to you. When I look back at my own journey, I realize that English changed my life in ways I never imagined. It opened doors to new friendships, new cultures, and new opportunities. But more than that, it taught me about perseverance. There were times when I wanted to quit. I remember one morning when I felt frustrated because I couldn't understand a video I was watching. I paused. It sighed and almost closed my notebook. But then I remembered something important. I didn't start this journey to be perfect. I started because I wanted to grow. So I played the video again slowly this time, repeating each line, and suddenly I understood a few words. That small moment felt like a victory. And it reminded me that progress doesn't always come in big leaps. Sometimes it comes in quiet, steady steps. That's why I always tell my students, don't rush. Give yourself time to grow. Learning English is like planting a tree. At first, it's just a small seed. You water it every day, even when you don't see results. Then, one day, a little green sprout appears. Slowly, it grows taller and stronger. You might not notice the change each day, but over time it becomes something beautiful, full of life and shade. Your English is that tree. Every new word, every mistake, every effort is like a drop of water helping it grow. Another habit that helped me deeply was reviewing my goals. Every month I looked at what I had achieved and what I wanted to improve. Sometimes I set new goals like learning to understand British accents or writing an essay without using a dictionary. These goals gave me direction and reminded me that I was always moving forward. You can do the same. Maybe your goal is to have a 5-minute conversation in English or to understand a movie without subtitles. Whatever it is, keep it simple, and when you reach it, celebrate. I also discovered the power of online resources. Today, we are lucky to live in a world full of apps, videos, and websites that make learning interactive and fun. I watched English stories on YouTube, listened to language podcasts, and used learning apps during my breaks. Each one gave me something new, a phrase, an idea, a spark of motivation. So take advantage of these tools. They make learning more enjoyable and help you stay connected to the language every day. Something that truly deepened my understanding was learning about English culture. Language and culture are like two sides of the same coin. You can't fully understand one without the other. I learned about British tea traditions, American holidays, and even jokes that people use in daily conversation. It made English feel more alive, more human. When you explore culture through movies, books, or even food, you begin to understand not just the words, but the feelings behind them. As you continue, you'll face challenges, days when it feels hard, and moments when you doubt yourself. But in those moments, remember this: you are already succeeding. Every time you choose to listen instead of give up, every time you try to speak even when you're nervous, every time you pick up your notebook and write a few words, that's success. The real goal isn't perfection, it's growth. And please don't forget to enjoy the adventure. Learning English is not a test. It's a journey, one filled with laughter, discovery, and moments of pride. Think of it like exploring a new world where every word is a treasure waiting to be found. The more you explore, the richer you become, not just in knowledge, but in confidence, perspective, and connection. Before we end, I want to share one last thought with you. Believe in yourself. You might think your English isn't good enough or that you'll never sound fluent, but I promise you that's not true. You are already communicating, already learning, already growing. English is not about sounding perfect. It's about expressing your heart, your thoughts, your voice, and your voice deserves to be heard. So, my dear friends, keep learning, keep smiling, and keep shining. Make English a part of your life in your music, your stories, your dreams. Remember, you don't have to be the best. You just have to be better than you were yesterday. And that's what real success looks like. Thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful journey here at Learn English with Sara. I hope this story has inspired you to keep going no matter how slow or difficult it feels. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment below. Tell me about your own English learning story. I'd love to hear how you're growing too. Until next time, my friends, keep learning, keep growing, and never stop believing in yourself.